Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Zwift Racing League. This is race 2 of the current Herd Winter Racing Series. Today's course is the Duchy Estate, and it's 5 laps of the hills of Yorkshire. This course, the key feature is a 6 to 8% climb up. I think Strava calls it Cornwall Street, and then a long 2% drag up to the finish line, which is under the green sprint banner. And then on each lap, after you come down from there, you do a series of kind of rolling hills before you do it again. And there's one of the lead-ins, so it actually makes for a total of 6 times up that little sprint. So that's what we're in for today. Joining me today also is Sean Fogenberg. And Craig Martin.
Hello.
This is Brent Robinson. Sean, who are you following today?
We'll be following Katie Candeloro, a herd of butterflies rider who did really well in the last season's playoff race in their points race, and has actually since moved up into the A's and is racing ZRL in the A's with ATP this season.
Good. Craig, who are you following today?
I'm not even sure yet. So we've got Jeff Aldrich. And I'm gonna follow Jeff Aldrich, and then we'll see what the other camera does. I do need to. There's Katie. Okay, good. I'd lost Katie. I've got Katie, and yeah. So I'm just gonna try and find something interesting with the other. So we've got Guy, Jeff, Katie, and someone.
And I'm following Guy DeBell. It is Guy in the North American sense, not Guy in the French Canadian sense. I've been corrected of that before.
I
And
will
Guy,
continue to get that wrong.
I know. I slip every once in a while too. But Guy is an ATP rider, and but he's been riding with the herd of Burning Bidets with me in the B1 division and doing a great job. So this is the start of this. I'm sure it's called Cornwall Street on Strava. Steep little rise that comes up here. Uh, so this is where we will probably see attacks, give or take, and essentially the big break in the race for the most part is essentially if you can hang on this and then stick it
Make
through to the finish line.
Yeah, make sure you're in the draft going down the other side.
Yeah, you definitely want to catch it before you get to the sprint banner, give or take. There's a couple extra meters after that before the downhill really starts in earnest. What would you? We see a whole bunch of Tron bikes. We see some other stuff. What would you pick for a bike on this one, Sean?
Yeah, probably Tron.
Yes, it
This
is
one's
probably.
got enough up and down that it probably makes more sense. But
Yeah, I rode the straight arrow today. I think my rationale was so the speed up that that steep bit is still like
yeah,
high 20s to 30 kilometer an hour type stuff, and you come into it. And so my idea was if I can carry the most speed through that, that probably makes up more than enough for any lightness. Add to that the sort of, I don't know, you save 3 or 4 watts sticking in the group the rest of the way around. That
fair.
was my
I
rationale.
I don't think that there's a strong argument one way or the other to that one is necessarily better.
No, I think that's right. Yes. So it is the Cornwall Road Climb to Sprint banner is the name of that Strava segment from that little pitch up into the sprint banner. And just out of curiosity, the fastest one we did today, I had it at a minute 25, although I suspect that was actually on lap 3, and the fastest, the final one was a minute 29, although I suspect the actual fastest was something then about 119 because I was 10 seconds off the leader on this race.
Makes sense.
So they're heading downhill. Katie has made the first group. There are looks like maybe 25-ish in this front group, and all strong riders.
Yeah, this is a much bigger field than we raced earlier today. I think we only had 37 or 40 racers in race one earlier today. I think it was conflicting with the Rafa race. So, guy's up here too. So he's doing well. Downhill guy is a bigger guy, so downhill is his specialty.
Yet another of the guys who would really like one of those Road to Sky reverse.
Yep, exactly. But he's a good sprinter. He got sprint points for us on Climber's Gambit, so he had to get up and down that hill to get there. Who have you got there? Have you got someone in the front pack, Craig?
No, well, so I've got a camera on Stuart Lynn just because he's usually interesting. But I'm really following Jeff Aldrich. So Jeff is in a group, looks like a little over 20 seconds back now. So he's looks like Barry Nixon's in that group as well. For there's a second herd rider, and yeah, they're moving along pretty good. It looks like Jeff's quite the spinner, and yeah, looks like a group of about 10, I think.
About to come up on this, yeah, the kick
Cornwall Road.
again.
Yeah, so this is about
Oh,
yeah, guys
eight
hitting
watt a kilo
5.0s.
kicks.
Oh, there goes some eights. Yeah, of the feathers. Looking like they're holding more mid fives to sixes for the sustained bit here. But yes, that was
This is gonna
definitely.
thin out quick. Oh,
I'm expecting a kind of a couple people to drop every lap, and then probably either lap 3 or 4, some of the strong riders to go really hard.
Katie is struggling to stick on the back here. She had a feather, has been kicking between, hitting at 3.5 and then kicking at 8 or 9, and is just a few meters off the back of the main pack,
Yeah,
but kicking to get there.
that guy's about the same shape. It looks like he's gonna get there if I had to guess. If he gives one little surge here, he should be back on. I think maybe one rider off the front. Are you guys seeing that?
Yep.
I am seeing that. I'm not sure who that is. Is that Noah?
Oh,
He's in the race, I
we,
think.
we had a we had a couple ones and twos in race one, but it all came back on the downhill. So
Yeah, it's so hard to get away from a pack this big going downhill.
yeah,
Oh, Katie's really doing the dangle. I think that's it. She's off the back there.
Yeah, that's painful.
Yeah,
1 second
just
back.
a few second,
Yeah.
just a few seconds more, and she was there. But
Oh,
Ugh.
and she missed a ride.
Yeah,
So
guy has made it through. Nice work, guy.
yeah, so it looks like Jeff's group is just at the top of the steep bit. Actually, it's his group is fracturing a bit. Looks like Baz took off and is 4 seconds up with one guy, and the rest of the looks like 4 or 5 with Jeff.
Probably tough to pace off the front group. Like you're in the front group, you stay on the front group, you just go away. I think it's a little harder once you're off the front group to know how much to murder yourself to stick with that group or how much just to sit in.
Yeah, no, and like this course was my first B race in a herd summer racing league. So fastest time through the sprint, and it's actually good because it's just hammer and sit, hammer and sit. So
Yeah, you got to watch this little rise here can be a little tricky. Not too much happened in race one, but you got to be kind of aware that it's coming.
oh, so ooh, Jeff is dangling off his group. He's hit a draft truck. Yeah, he's back on.
Yeah, see here, guy's gone to the back. He's gonna have to put a little surge in to stick on, and that's the real drainer of this course is like you kind of sit on the back, and then you got power into the front, but then you just get enough recovery to barely stick on again. Makes for a long race.
Yeah, it's
looks like
you feel like you've accomplished something if you've stayed on a pack that's fast, though.
Absolutely. And you have, especially in these HWR races, for sure.
there's a group of 2 coming up behind Katie, so she should have, and she's mostly recovered. So we'll see what happens on the little climb this time.
We're going again, sevens and sixes again off the front. Oh, and all the feathers. That always is the worst part too, when the feathers all get you. I think this might be it for Guy. Doesn't look like he's gonna stick it. He's definitely off the back now. Tough. It's a, doing that 6 times is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, this is one of those yard sale races where there's just bodies strewn all over the place.
So
Yeah.
Jeff's group has pulled back Baz and the rider that went with him. It's just so amazing how fast a bigger group goes downhill.
Yeah, and you just need just a few little spins to keep that pace going too. It is pretty remarkable. See if Guy can catch on to these three. He's got 3 to 4 seconds of the next group, and then behind him it's like over four. Well, I guess 8, 9 seconds. So he's got
Some lap
he's in the
riders, yeah.
tough no man's land. Yeah, and a couple lap riders. We went through them pretty fast.
It's like Katie might be sitting up for a bigger group coming up behind, which may not be a bad idea.
Yeah, the bigger group, better draft. Don't want to let too many groups get by, though. Yeah, there she goes.
Nice. So yeah, we're about, I guess this isn't quite halfway through the race because there's a bit of a lead in, and it's about a 16 some odd kilometer total. So um, close to halfway through.
So it
Unfortunately,
looks
poor
like
Guy is in full no man's land.
so Jeff has got a group. So it's that same group. There's 9 now. I think they lost one of them, but pretty much the same group that they had at before the end of lap 1. So they're going pretty good.
Nice. Yeah, and this is always makes for an interesting finish too, because it really, I mean, sprint is one thing, but really it's being able to hold that group all the way into the finish. Like it's more about that 90-second power than it is um, your actual 15-second power.
Or maybe the can you hold on and then still have some 15-second power?
Yeah, that too, especially in the A's. They'll be able to do both.
Yep.
This one rider's just past Guy, and he's should hopefully try and give a little surge here and catch on, maybe on this little rise here. We caught a lot of like breakaway bits on race 1 here, as people came across the top and it kind of strung out along the climb, and then you couldn't quite pull them all the way in the descent, but you'd come through here with a lot more speed and pick them up on this little hump.
Yeah, Katie's group is definitely rolling a lot faster than the ones and twos that are up ahead. They've already swept up a couple here, a couple more. So, yeah, sitting in this group is a really smart play here.
When there was, I think one of that group of 2 they just passed, I think went by her, and it was a good call to wait for the bigger group.
Yep. I think at this point the question is whether their group eventually chases down Guy.
Yeah, it'll get close, I think. I can't tell what's happening. Is the front like totally shattered? It looks like there's only a couple riders in the very, very front tippy top of the group.
No, it looks like there's about 20, 25.
Okay.
I mean, it's strung out a little bit, but there is a front group. There's a couple riders off the front of it, but
Might just be purple dots on the screen. It's impossible to tell which ones are in which lap at this point.
yeah,
Yeah.
it does look like a pretty good group still. That's I'm just so Stuart Lynn is in the top 10, and looks like a pretty good group moving along with him. And Noah's still with him, so that's probably the lead.
I think that's a safe assumption.
Looking at the Zwift Power Live, actually, one of the guys that I was racing against in the first season of ZRL way back when, Andy Kroll, he was back in the C's back then. Now a strong B closing in on A is still up in that front group.
God. Andrew Kroll must have been a very good C rider.
Yeah, it was a real rough trying to stick on the front of those races that first season.
I think one of my last races as a C, Andy Kroll and I were side by side the whole way, and he beat me by a couple points in an HSRL on Petit Boucle, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a hella strong sprinter. Andy and I raced a bullseye like a week passed, so whatever, 8, 9 days ago, and everyone was just an absolute fist fight to the line, and I think he got them all.
Yeah, when we were both C's, I had I was close to him, but I probably lost a little off my sprint, and he seems to have gained a little. So the way it goes.
Coming around again. It looks like Katie's group is still mostly stuck together. There's some gaps here she's trying to close down, but looking like she's gotten through that next Cornwall climb and back through the sprint banner with the group, and they're still hoovering up riders.
Yeah, guys just had to solo through that. He's missed 2 solo riders going past him on the climb, which
80's
are
group
probably the
is
later guys.
at 9 seconds on him, so they've pulled back quite a gap.
Yeah, I think there's a very strong chance they catch him before he goes back up the climb again with those numbers. With that many bodies in the group, and they're pedaling. They're chasing down riders for sure.
Well, so's Guy.
Yeah, I think most of the riders he might be passing are not on this lap.
No, they're not. But it looks like another small group about what is it, 30 seconds ahead, and one rider in between. So
What's going on up at the front, Craig?
So at the front, still looks like about 15-ish riders, still together, going hard up the hill. And yeah, so Andy's still there, Andy Kroll, among a bunch of others. And yeah, it does look like in the 15 to 20 range. So they're it's stringing out. It's strung out on this on that long climb, just about every lap here, and yeah, it looks like about somewhere between 15 and 18. And yeah, as they're just flying past lapped riders.
Right.
And
they're about to catch Guy in that group, so if he's gonna, there he goes, attaboy Guy. They were coming up hard on that rise, and he has done a big surge to get his speed up to match. So nice job to stick on that group, Guy. Way to go. Hope we can hold them back on the next rise up. 2 more to go.
Yeah, so it looks like there's still 7 of that original 9 or 10 in Jeff's group that are still mostly together. It does look like Jeff 7 he's just dangling off the back by the start of the sprint segment every single lap, but just keeps getting back on.
Well, I think that is, I mean, I think it is in every HWR a little bit, but you know, you want to try and stick with the fastest group you can as long as you can.
Yeah. So yeah,
and Guy are going up the hill one more time, and again things are stringing out, but probably going to come back together.
Yeah, hopefully guys got a little surge here when they go down to the 2% to get back on the back of this group, because it is just getting away from him a little bit. But at 2%, he should be able to maybe have a little more big man watts to get back up there.
Yeah, it looks like he's at 3 seconds behind Katie now, so
yeah,
and
I think he might
she's with the group.
Yeah.
This gets kind of hard to know. So as that happened as they were going through a bunch of traffic, so it's kind of hard to know where's my group, who are the people that we are lapping. It can be hard to mark all the riders that you need to.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier now than when we had the sticky draft, but yeah, it can still be a really big pain. So,
and it is entirely possible that Guy just blew up after sticking with that group an extra lap.
Yeah, it looked like he didn't have those minute legs again.
That gives him a 23-second lead on the next rider back, so
Yeah.
So it looks like the lead group is. So they're just over a kilometer from the finish on the last lap. They're just about to make the turn for that little ramp the last time, and there are about 16 in this group still. So
Yeah, I saw looked like Stewart was doing 600 watts in the steep bit of that hill, which is familiar territory from earlier this afternoon.
There's
yeah,
actually been a little attack off of the front of Katie's group. It's been split into two groups. There's a group of three up ahead and five chasing, with another three a little ahead of that I'm not sure on the same lap, but it's a little 1 second gap.
yeah. So as you'd expect, feathers everywhere on the last lap on that sharp little climb. Stewart had a feather, used it to get back into the group. Just like you were saying, a little bit of confusion with lapped riders there. And he's in the group, but it looks like there's only about 13 left. I think a couple get dropped. And Stewart looks like he's really looking to contest this one. He's right up towards the front here. About to make the right turn into the sprint segment. And now the
It's
guys
hard to
have
stay on the
had
gas
the
all the
arrows
way.
all hit them and start moving away. Wow. That is crazy fast. Stewart's sitting in 12th and looks like he's going to come across in 12th. Last man standing in the lead pack.
Katie's sitting at the front of this group. There's a couple others who have just popped some power ups. They're moving to try and get those two that are off the front, but yeah, actually, there's just attacks flying in this group. Fun to see, even before going up that little hill. 1 2 second gaps. She's gonna hit it and see what she can do. Looks like there's 3 seconds up to the group ahead. She's popped her arrow, but not sure she's gonna get back to the rest of that group ahead.
It looks like she might have a little help here. If she can stay on that wheel.
Guys just starting the last climb up Cornwall Road. Oh, solo mio. Guy, you got 23 seconds on the rider behind you, though. You got to keep it pumping. Don't stop, buddy. What do you guys call the finish for Katie?
Yeah, things have really. I mean, those attacks have really stretched out the group. It's she's with one other rider in the that are, I think, the back two from that group, going on, but the rest of them are up the road several seconds. So it's really just trying to stick in with him and see how they finish.
They're close enough. If the two of them have a good sprint and somebody doesn't have anything left, they might catch somebody, but it does look like probably the two of them.
Well, and you always want to win your own sprinting as whoever's sitting next to you at the line, no matter what the race is.
Oh, always. If it's your teammate for 52nd in the in ZRL, right?
100%.
This is a tough course. They just didn't have anything left to even try and sprint, really. She came across what was that, around 33rd, somewhere in there.
Right, and here comes the guy into the finish. He's in the finishing sprint too. He is totally solo though. He has held off that rider. It was 20 seconds and put time into them. So good finish, guy. Well done to keep strong all the way through. And he's going to come through in 34th, which I think is a good result for Guy. I think he should be really happy with that. Good job.
That's very much not my play there. My play is to let the guy behind me work hard to get to close the gap and then out sprint him. But good play.
That's right. Herd of wheel suckers.
Herd of wheel suckers.
Yeah,
So it
this
looks
one is tougher because it is that 2% drag all the way to the top. So
Yeah.
you can sap their legs and really smoke them. I know I had no sprint here either. Me and Brian O'Connor were 14, 15, and then I think Chris came in 16 or 17. Chris Greenland today, and it was all I could do. Like the group went away from me, and I was just looking over my shoulder at the numbers to see how close Brian was going to get and how much I had to put in to survive and not throw up on my bike to get to the end.
So it looks like Jeff got dropped by his group here on the last lap, switching back to Jeff Aldrich. And so he's about 5 seconds back as going along here. And yeah, that gap is stretching out. So he's looks like he popped a little bit. And so he's going to try and hold off the guys that are right now sitting about 20 seconds back with a little over a kilometer to go for Jeff. So he's coming into that last steep section. And just gonna hit that now. I think a pretty good dig on this will probably make him pretty safe. And he is pushing on this one. He's, oh wow, up at 350 to 400 watts here. This is a very, very long stretch when you've got people just a little bit too far in front that you're likely to catch, but people behind you trying to catch you.
I feel like I rode this one in HSRL last year or something, maybe 2020, and definitely blew myself up. And this stretch from the bottom of the hill up to the top, trying to get there every time after you've blown is just hellish.
Yep. And so those could very likely be the same race I did my first B race in. And I was trying to hang on to Dirt's Operation Bear Claw there, and very much in pain when I finally did give up. So Jeff is really closing in here now. Looks like he's going to make it. It's 19 seconds back to the next rider still. It's a good effort to power through this last climb. And you're making the right turn with that downhill that is just such a relief. And yeah, he's
While you're trying to sprint.
even when you're trying to sprint, it's a relief.
Oh, yes.
He's got a 20-second lead. He's safe. He's gonna up the pace just a little bit, but pretty much roll across safe in 51st place. So good job, Jeff.
And there's still 40 riders out there.
There are still a pile of riders out there, and so that is our end of it here for tonight, though. And thanks guys for a fun half an hour of broadcasting.
Thanks
Thanks,
everybody for
guys.
watching.
Thanks, guys. Good night.